Warning, this video contains opinions. Proceed with caution. The Grandma Gertie situation is what I'll be discussing in today's video. As we all know, Grandma Gertie officially got revealed for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 as a playable character yesterday, but something about the whole thing just felt off, if you will. And I suppose it's best to start by taking a look at this message from yesterday by an individual who goes by the name of Blackamar, and I think many of us might know the name or have at least seen the name. This individual, I believe, was a tester for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, and they have actual information about the game. So when this individual posted on Twitter, or Discord yesterday I should say, they posted this message. F it, LOL. Now that she's been officially revealed, Nickelodeon was the one pushing for her inclusion. Have fun with that information. Okay, maybe, perhaps, that's what feels off. The forced inclusion of Gertie, who appears to be the meme character pick this time around. And when something is forced, it's never gonna feel natural, and that's just not a good feeling that anybody wants to experience. So let's start by analyzing Gertie as herself, or this meme character as she's being portrayed as, right? We'll notice a few major things. First off, the devs did give her the Captain Falcon knee of justice, one of the most iconic moves in fighting game history, the Falcon knee of justice. Alright, that says something, I suppose. But we will also notice she appears to have Ryu from Street Fighter, the rising uppercut, or the Shoryuken, if you will. Like, and one more thing I noticed, I might be wrong on this one, maybe I'm not seeing it properly, but this appears to be a Falcon punch type maneuver as well, so it kind of, we're gonna have to wait for the official character showcase to get confirmation on that, but it does give off Falcon punch vibes, at least in my opinion. And then we also seen her final smash, right? It gives off major Captain Falcon final smash vibes as well. It's kind of like, I'm not saying she's a clone of Captain Falcon, no, don't put words in my mouth, but there are a lot of similarities that have been borrowed, and it feels kind of like a copy paste. But the point being here that Nickelodeon seems to have forced this character to be a meme simply on the fact that she is an old lady. And as we all know, an old lady in a fighting game, that's original and hilarious. So I don't know if they just thought everybody will love this idea and it's just going to be a slam dunk. I don't know if they thought they had the next best idea on their hands or what, but if this was their idea of making Gertie seem cool by having to force these other iconic moves into her moveset, well, doesn't that kind of do the opposite effect? Aren't you taking a character that you're already forcing into the game, but you're kind of saying she doesn't have a lot to work with? She was boring and uninteresting as a character, so we had to go take all these other iconic moves to give to her to make people actually start talking about her. Does that make sense? Again, I feel like this has had the opposite effect of what it was supposed to. Again, just one person's opinion here. Maybe somebody agrees with me, maybe you don't. All is good. I'm not looking to start no argument war down in the comments, but some people might. Anyway, speaking of anger, if you will, let's take a look at some of the angry tweets from yesterday, and there were quite a few. So we'll just run over a few of them here very quickly, like this one. Oh boy, look, there's an old lady, but she's actually really good at fighting. What a completely original and funny idea. And there's this one. I like joke characters, but man, with the roster cuts this sequel is probably getting, I just don't care much for this one. Not to mention the Captain Falcon like joke character was already done with Shaggy in Multiverses, but that's just their opinion. Pfft, this trailer. Next one. If you guys legitimately cut Cat Dog but added this, I'm going to be miffed. Well, you see what the word is, but try to be family friendly here. Next tweet. Love how they cut 11 veterans from the first game. for this. Crying face emoji, a couple other tweets, but you get the idea. This had a lot of blowback yesterday, quite a bit of blowback. This wasn't, I don't think this was received the way that Nickelodeon was hoping. Now again, with the fact that Nickelodeon was the one that pushed for her inclusion, can't really blame the devs on this one. The devs can only work with the resources, the time, and everything that they're given. If their boss Nickelodeon comes to them and says, make this happen, well, they kind of have to do it, otherwise there's going to be repercussions, right? And, well, that's just how the real world works. So they got to do what they can, and I don't know if it was the devs' ultimate decision to cram in these iconic moves, the knee of justice, the potential Falcon Punch, Ryu's rising uppercut. I don't know if it was their idea or not, but again, the whole thing just kind of smells and feels like forced. It's not a good feeling. It's really not. So I want to talk about memes for a second, because again, that's the type of character Gertie appears to be for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2. So if you followed Nickelodeon All Star Brawl as a series from the first game up until this point now, well, you will know that the devs absolutely love including community-made memes and nods and such like that, right? Take Hugh, for example. I mean, he was already a walking meme lord before everything, before Nickelodeon All Star Brawl was even a thought. But the community backed him and wanted Hugh as a playable character so badly that the devs turned around and they made that happen for us. So shout out to the devs on that one. Big round of applause. But that's the point. All these memes, and you can't tell me for a second that if we ended up getting Jimmy Neutron and Hugh Neutron, both playable characters in the same game, you know for a fact that the devs over at Ludosity and Game Mill, you know for a fact they would have included, or at least fought very hard to include, some sort of voice line of Hugh saying to Jimmy that he's going to send Jimbo to the Shadow Realm. Again, memes going strong because that's what the devs do. That's how they connect with us. That's how they talk to us. We understand that. So another example of this is a meme created during Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1. We've all seen this one. The one with Squidward and his janky-ass hitboxes, right? Well, it turns out the devs made this an actual move. Now, it's nothing crazy. It's just a little kick forward. Very, very simple. But the devs put that in the game for us because of what we did. So, again, shout out to the devs for, listening and seeing what we're doing. They're connecting with us on like an entirely different level. So the devs know what's going on. Nickelodeon, on the other hand, they might be off their game here a little bit. But again, the point here is that Gertie was never memed from the community. Just to prove it, I'm going to post every single Gertie meme that I can find that everybody loves and remembers. Here they are. Boy, that was a lot of them, wasn't it? Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, I just ran through a list of absolutely nothing. Because nobody has memed her. You get the point. She feels forced. So, in fact, I can take this a step farther, if you will. I can even say she never was memed by the community. She was also never requested by the community. You can look back on any character poll. Look back on anything. Here's just one example. We did our own. We had a yay or nay series. Her name was never brought up once in that. But here's the poll. This only goes through 26 characters, but Gertie's absolutely nowhere on this. There's no love for her. Nobody's asking to see her. Go back through Discord, go back through YouTube videos for wanted lists, go through Reddit. You can't find her topping any sort of list, not even like the top half of lists. She's like nowhere to be found. Again, that kind of reinforces my point that this just feels off and very kind of forced. So my final point for the video, I'm actually going to be talking about the roster leak that we know of. So if you are trying to avoid spoilers, this is the point where you're going to want to stop watching because spoilers are coming. You have been warned, so with that warning out of the way, let's look at the character roster from the first game to start this off. As we see, once it was all said and done, there were 25 total characters. Awesome. That's a great number. 25 is perfect for your first entry. That's what you want to add to. That's what you want to have multiple additions to the roster. You want to build off of the first one, right? Right? Well, now let's consider the officially confirmed characters for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2. Again, the official ones that have been confirmed. So here's the list: Aang, April, Danny, Donnie, El Tigre, Ember, Garfield, Gertie, Jenny, Jimmy, Cora, Lucy, Nigel, Patrick, Plankton, Raphael, Ren and Stimpy, Reptar, Rocco, SpongeBob, Squidward, and Zim. Now, if my numbers are correct here and I can count, that's 22 characters. Now, keep in mind, we had 25 characters in the first game. 25 characters when it was all said and done. So as of right now, we got 22. That's 3 less than the first game. But we're not done. We're not done. This is where the leaks come in. So if you apply the characters that we know from the leak, well, we can add Azula, Gerald, and Norbert and Daggett, the Angry Beavers, but they're a 2-in-1 character. So we can add 3 more characters to the overall roster. So the 22 that are confirmed so far, and the 3 that have yet to be officially confirmed, we still don't know Vlad Plasmus' stance either. Is he just a boss? Like, what's going on there? But the point is, 25 final characters from the first game, and now these 25 known characters, which could be the final character count. Well, I'm no mathematician, but 25 and 25, they're the same number, which means the sequel has not added to the roster in any way. The best way I can describe it is we didn't get character additions, we only got character replacements. Now, please forgive me for thinking that the sequel was supposed to add on to the first one. Again, I know there was the tweet from one of the developers that said 98% of the game was built from scratch. So yeah, character roster cuts are supposed to be expected. And I'm not denying that roster cuts never happen from game to game. But not almost half your roster. That is ridiculous, especially when you think of the appeal of what Nickelodeon All Star Brawl's roster is, what the appeal of a Smash Bros roster is, the appeal of Multiverse's roster. What's the biggest element? It's a crossover game. They want to see the fans. We want to see all these different universes coming together. Now, something like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat, yeah, those have roster cuts all the time, but those are all in-universe characters. Sure, there might be a couple guest characters like Mortal Kombat or something, but they don't play a part in the overall story. Those aren't guest characters. You're seeing just one universe of characters. So the appeal of crossover isn't what's going to draw people into those games. That's what Nickelodeon All Star Brawl and Smash Bros have going for it. So when you take 11 characters, many of whom were highly requested to begin with, you're not just removing that special feeling, but you're taking away one of the main points, one of the main selling points of what the game gives you.
It's so